Next we are going to go to a new chapter called Omission. Okay, what is this omission? It is a passage without a few words, that is a few words are omitted and you are going to supply the words that are missing. Okay. So, unless you know the proper structure of a sentence, you will not be able to do this. Okay. So, this is omission, supplying words. Supplying missing words. Okay, now we are going to do a worksheet on it. A passage of about 9 lines with an omitted word in each line will be provided. An example may be provided to guide the students how to tackle the exercise. That is, out of 9, one may be worked out for you. Out of 9, one answer will be given. So, 8 more omissions you will have to work out. Students are required to supply the omitted word. In order to point out its exact location in the line, the missing word is written along with the word that comes before it. For example, if you have a word to, needs to, you have to write there. Okay. Word is written along with the word that comes before it and the word that comes after it. The word supplied as omitted or missing word is underlined. Each correct answer carries half a mark. Like how we did editing, here also omission also half a mark each and you get 4 marks. So, altogether there will be 8 plus 1, 9 words omitted. The ninth one, that is the first one, will be worked out for you, and looking at that example you have to work out the rest. Okay. Shall we go ahead with it now? Yeah, I am going to give you a passage and the same way how you get in your exam we are going to do. So, in the following passage, one word has been omitted in each line. Write the missing word along with the word that comes before and the word that comes after it in your answer sheet against the correct question number. Ensure that the word that forms your answer is underlined. The first one has been done as an example for you. Okay. This is the first passage. A metropolitan city needs have the basic facilities include mass housing projects. Accessible, well-maintained roads with accessible, well-maintained proper transportation facilities. Since metropolitan city is overcrowded, it also needs more organized in terms of how well it provides these basic amenities, the people there. The people living there, the local government needs to plan its infrastructure. And its optimum use. Above all, scientific sewage system should get top priority. Should get top priority. Okay, now we have how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9 lines, 9 blanks. And the first one, I'll do it for you. A metropolitan city needs, here one word is missing, to have. So I'll just write here, needs to have. Okay, needs to have the basic facilities. And what are the words missing here? You first read it and then I will help you out. So this is supplying missing words, omission. Half into 8 will be 4 marks. Okay, first you read and you try to work it out, then I'll do it for you. Okay, now the second line, where is the word missing? Needs to have the basic facilities here and here, which include mass housing project. So facilities which include mass housing projects, accessible, well maintained roads. Now where is the next word? Accessible, here, and well maintained roads. Okay, accessible and well maintained roads with proper transportation facilities. Since metropolitan, okay, since a metropolitan city is overcrowded, it also needs more organized, needs to be more, it also needs to be, okay. Okay, now which are we in? D. Okay, D. Here I forgot B is already there. Needs to be. Needs to be more organized in terms of how well it can provide these basic amenities. What is the word? It can provide. So what are the words that are, see, to, which, and, to, can. These are the words that are omitted and we are writing both the one before and the one after. Next one, basic amenities of the people living there. um, the local, okay, now this is F, isn't it? Basic amenities to the people living there. So, to the people living there. The local government needs to plan, no, needs to plan out the, needs to plan out its infrastructure. Its infrastructure and its optimum use. Above all, what is the word missing here? Above all, here, a scientific sewage system. System should get top priority. Now, shall we read it out and see whether the whole passage makes sense? Okay. A metropolitan city needs to have the basic amenities which include mass housing projects, accessible and well maintained roads with proper transportation facilities. Since a metropolitan city is overcrowded, it also needs to be more organized in terms of how well it can provide these basic amenities to the people living there. The local government needs to plan out its infrastructure and its optimum use. Above all, a scientific sewage system should get top priority. Now, have you learned how to do it? Now, tick it up if you have done everything correctly. And you get how much? 4 on 4. Okay. Now, this is how you supply the missing words for the omissions in a passage. Now, if you have gained mastery over this sort of a subject, now I am going to work out another one for you so that you will be able to do this passage, the next passage also properly. So, this is how they will give you a passage and they will give you blanks here, and the first one will be an example. It will be done for you. Out of the 9, 8 you have to fill in, and 8 proper words if you fill in, you get half a mark each, and altogether 4 marks. So, do not ever miss those 4 marks. We are going to gain mastery over this omission and supplying missing words. Next, I am going to give you another easy passage. Let us see whether you are able to do it. Okay? This is passage number 2. You want me to read out the question again? In the following passage, one word has been omitted in each line. Write the missing word along with the word that comes before and the word that comes after it in your answer sheet against the correct question. Question number. Ensure that the word that forms your answer is underlined. The first one has been done as an example for you. Okay, every passage the first one will be done. Our house is filled with photos. I'm sorry. I've given you the answer here. Filled photos. This will be the example one. So what is the word? Filled with photos. Okay. So the first one alone will be done. The rest you have to do. They cover the walls my kitchen. Drawing room and den. I see families entire history starting my wedding. Okay, are you following now? This must be easier for you, isn't it? Starting my wedding. Continuing through births of 2 sons. Buying a home, family gatherings, vacations. Family gathering, vacations. When my sons little, they love to pose. Then they did anything for picture. But they rarely picture taking when reached adolescence. Adolescence. Okay, our house is filled with photos with, I've given you the answer, and we have here, they cover the walls, my kitchen, drawing room and den. I see family's entire history, starting my wedding, continuing through births of 2 sons, buying a home, family gathering, vacations. When my sons little, they loved to pose when they did anything for picture. Then they did anything for picture. But they rarely picture taking when they reached adolescence. So, if you read it this way, it doesn't make sense at all because certain words are missing. So, you have to supply the missing words over here for each sentence, the missing word with the previous word and the latter word, that is the next word, so that you won't have any doubt as to which word you have fitted in, okay, and you have to underline the word, the missing word. So, each line you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now, let us try and fix it. Okay, now what would you think will be the word over here? The first blank. They cover the walls of my kitchen. So, you have to write walls of my and underline of. Kitchen, drawing room and den. Okay. Next one. I see our families. Oh, sorry. I see our families entire history starting from very easy, isn't it? Starting from my what is the next line? Entire history starting from my wedding. Next, continuing through the births of 2 sons. the births of two sons. Then next one, of two sons buying a home, family gathering and vacation. And vacations. So all this you find on the walls of this person. Vacations. When my sons dash little, they love to post. When my sons were little, sons were little, they love to pose. Then they did anything for picture. But okay, for a picture. Okay, for a picture. They did anything for a picture. But they rarely picture taking when they reached adolescence. But they were but they rarely were when they reached, okay, but they were, I'm sorry, here, but they were rarely picture taking when they reached adolescence. So they were picture taking. Okay. Picture taking is one full word. We have to underline the missing words. Only then the teacher will know that these are the missing words, and the words prior to it and the words next to it you have given. So this is called omission and supplying missing words. If you have written all this correctly, you can put a tick now and you get 4 on 4. Okay. So have you got the trend of supplying missing words now? And we saw editing a passage. Now we have seen supplying missing words for omission or omitted words. So all this will help you in journalism. When you go up to higher classes, if you take journalism, all this is going to be of great help. Okay, I am sure you've got 4 full marks. Let me see how well you are doing in the other exercises. Okay, this I am going to give you as a test. Let's see whether you are a star. Okay, I have given you 2 example passages for omission. Now I am going to give you one passage for test. Okay. Why were exam results drive some children some students to suicide? and not others. Blaming ambitious parents mind-breaking syllabus would be oversimplification. Would be a study reveals that in India one 10 adolescents suffers from depression. Okay. It been found that 8 to 15% of teenagers are emotionally disturbed. Enough. Need counseling services. Many teenagers say feel constantly stressed. Because of the prevalent competitiveness and the emotional baggage. Emotional baggage, this line is too long, okay? Emotional baggage that accompanies puberty. During adolescence, girl twice likely as boys to develop depression. Okay. Now what is the first answer? Why poor exam results drive some students to suicide? Okay. Here is a missing word. Why do? Why do poor? Why do poor exam results drive some students to suicide and not others? Blaming ambitious parents. Okay, what will be the missing word here? Blaming ambitious parents here over a mind breaking. Over a mind breaking syllabus would be, here would be, I think this word was missing. Syllabus would be oversimplification. Okay, so this is the word. A study reveals that in India, 110 adolescents, okay, in India, 1 out of, or what would you write here? Out of 1, okay, in India, out of 10. 1 out of 10 adolescents suffers from depression. Okay, every 1 out of 10 adolescents suffers from depression. It has been found that 8 to 5% of teenagers are emotionally disturbed enough to need counseling services. Many teenagers say that they feel constantly stressed. They feel constantly stressed they feel, okay, I've omitted they here. They feel, okay, enough. They feel constantly stressed because of the prevalent competitiveness and emotional baggage. They feel this line doesn't have anything. In a emotional baggage that accompanies puberty. During adolescence, there is no word here, so you can just leave it. During adolescence, a girl is twice likely as boys to develop depression. Does this passage make sense now? It's a little tough for you, but I worked it out. Let's see whether you have done it correctly. I'll read out the answers and then we'll check out the answers. Okay. So, first line, why do and not others blaming parents. After parents you have the next word and syllabus would be. Here is the next word. A study reveals that in India 1 out of, okay, here is it has been found, are emotionally disturbed enough to need counseling. Many teenagers say they feel constantly stressed because of the prevalent competitiveness and these two together, okay. During adolescence, a girl is twice likely as boys to develop depression. Okay, now let me read. Why do poor exam results drive some students to suicide and not others? Blaming ambitious parents over a mind-breaking syllabus would be oversimplification. That is, parents want the syllabus to be simplified. A study reveals that in India, 1 out of 10 adolescents suffers from depression. That is, if you have 50 students in a class, there will be 1 out of 10 means that is every 10. So, out of 50, 5 students will be suffering from depression. It has been found that 8 to 15% of teenagers are emotionally disturbed enough to need counseling services. That is, out of 100, 8 to 15 of them are constantly suffering from depression. Maybe the parents are forcing them to get more marks, or they feel they have a complex, or the teachers are forcing them and calling them names and saying you're good for nothing, so they want to show it, or their friends are telling them not to study, or some are telling them to study. So, all sorts of things weigh the child's mind, and they go through depression. Okay, they need counseling services. Many teenagers say they feel constantly stressed because of the prevalent competitiveness and emotional baggage that accompanies puberty. When a child, that is whether a girl or a boy, grows up and becomes an adolescent, that is a time when a syllabus is being forced onto them and they have to study to get marks to show their worth, to prove their worth. Okay? They have to show marks, otherwise they cannot stand in par with the others. So, that is the reason why the students are overstressed. Okay? Constantly stressed because of the prevalent competitiveness. If you don't get so much marks, you will not get into this group, or if you don't get so much marks, you cannot get into college. So, that competitiveness is mind boggling, and they get into emotional baggage along with their growing up stage. A child's growing up stage should be problem free, that is what we thought earlier, but now it is just the opposite. During adolescence, a girl is twice likely as boys to develop depression. That is, a girl becomes twice, that is, if boys are depressed, girls are equally or more than equally depressed. Okay? They develop depression, because a girl, more than a boy, a girl's life after puberty is more physically, they go through a lot of changes, and that really depresses them, and also this curriculum is overweighing on their minds. So, this puts all together, and a girl is more likely to suffer depression more than the boys. Okay? So, this passage talks about it. I am sure you are not going to be depressed, or I am sure you don't need to have to go for counseling sessions or counseling services, because you are going to be well prepared. See, when you are well prepared, you can easily face any examination. And also, don't be too serious, like don't say, oh, this is not a do or die thing. Okay? Take your exams easily, relax and study. You can now and then you can just play with your friends, go out, play in the open, and come back and study. Don't sit always within 4 walls. That's going to make you depressed. Okay? Or don't keep sitting in front of the computer or TV. Go out, take some fresh air, go take a walk and come back. You will be so refreshed. So, we are going to negate the whole topic of suicides. Okay? All the best now.